What the fuck?
Welcome back. Hello everyone and welcome back to GameCast, and we have found a long lost member.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, so I think it's been nearly a year.
I think it has been about that, Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, but sure, with the pandemic, and Darren doesn't live near us.
Wait, there's a pandemic? I don't know, go on anyway. I never left my house. Just found me in the same place I always was, just sitting in my chair.
I felt like I did nothing but work and stay inside.
Yeah, man, all the days are just blending into one, you know, but like, I think to an extent it was kind of like that before the pandemic as well, and it's not symptomatic of the pandemic, it's symptomatic of just not living life to the full, I think.
Before the pandemic, I was sitting inside, might play a video game, go for a walk, come home, watch a movie. Then when they announced the world was shutting down, my first instinct was like, oh no, I can't go to the cinema, I can't go for a walk on the beach. And then I was thinking, I didn't do those things anyway. I'm trying to do more now.
It's an exercise in gratefulness, you know, it's kind of making you realise what you don't have. You know, you don't know what you have till it's gone, that kind of thing. It's cliched for a reason, so.
Anyway, we're here to talk about gaming and other related media. So Darren, it's been a long time. I'm sure you've got through a rake of games.
Certainly have. I finally got around to playing The Evil Within over Halloween there.
I've seen that on Steam actually, that you keep coming up.
Yeah,
Evil Within.
yeah. Like I played it very briefly before, and I got my ass handed to me by the first sadist in the game, one of the kind of sub bosses in it. But my friend Max recommended it years ago, and coming up to Halloween, it was sitting there in my library, and I was like, I know I'm gonna like it if I actually just force myself through that part with the sadist. And I was right. I got addicted to it really fast. It's weirdly janky at a lot of parts. Like just the movement is kind of janky, and the performance isn't exactly the best. I had to do a few tweaks to get it working because it was like zooming in really close whenever I tried to crank it up to 4K. And even at 4K it's very choppy, so in the end I just settled with 1440p. But yeah, it was really, really enjoyable. It was very like Resident Evil 4-y.
I was about to say Resident Evil 4 or 5. It's kind of like that gameplay.
Yeah.
But
it's more like action horror rather than survival horror.
Yeah.
But they did manage to play up the survival well enough because the ammo is genuinely really scarce in it.
I've never played it, but I've watched full walkthroughs of it, and they literally give you no bullets.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like in most games, the parts where they give you like a special weapon that you never use, you literally have to use every weapon in Evil Within.
You really do.
Yeah.
You really, really do. Like there's been parts where like I was in like a tight hallway, and using the sniper rifle isn't ideal, obviously, because of the way it zooms in.
Yeah.
But I had to because it was literally the only ammo I had.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I managed to push through that part, and I get to the next room, and there's this big feast of like 10 whole bullets, and I'm like, oh, Christmas came early. You know, the absolute dopamine rush of like struggling through a tough part and then getting all those delicious 6 bullets or so. Brilliant.
What do you think of the plot of that game?
It was cool, but it was kind of told in a weird way. Like it was a bit too cerebral at some parts. There were some parts where I was just like, so is the real world screwed, and we're in like this little like psychic dimension, or is the world is the ruins of Crimson City, like is that in the psychic dimension and the real world is okay? It was kind of weirdly told.
If I remember correctly, at the start of the game, there's no kind of right. You're into this horror matrix world. You just kind of slowly blend into it, and then you realize where you are. It doesn't give you any kind of definite moment. What, are you going to play the second one?
Yeah.
The second one has a much more. Right, you're going in.
Oh, it's much more clear.
It's much more clear, and it shows that like they, instead of like being all mystical and all, it's more like the business aspect of it. Did you finish the game?
Oh, I did, yeah. I don't think I'll go near the DLC because I'm just at my limit with it. And I tried playing the start of the assignment, and it was a bit too stealth focused, and
it's like very stealth focused.
Yeah, like with the level I'm at the game now, like I've had the Evil Within experience, and I'm quite done with it. So the idea of having to push through like a stealth focused one, because I get very impatient with stealth games. The idea of that was too much for me, so I'm just like, no, I've had enough, on to 2. But first I'm going to play Control. So
You were saying Control?
Control, yeah, absolutely brilliant, yeah.
We talked about this on one of the very first podcasts where I said I had Control and you said you were dying to play it. So explain everyone your setup, the way you have it all going, with your 8K ray tracing, everything.
I do not have that. No, I have a 3060, which is like the worst RTX card, the worst like of the 3000 series you can get. But it's running pretty well. I have it running at like 1440p native, and it's around 1080p DLSS. So that's saving me a lot of room to crank up the ray tracing. Even then, I'm not getting full 60 now. You know, I'm hovering around 60 at some parts, and then some parts it gets very choppy, like kind of 40ish. But it's so gorgeous that I don't even care, and it doesn't even feel like really juddery or anything. It doesn't become unplayable. You know, there's probably like PC Master Race people out there that's like below 60 unplayable.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, come on. But yeah, it runs really, really well, and the lighting is so gorgeous. Like, just there's this dude at the start, this random janitor dude just mopping up the floor, and if you look at the floor from a certain light, you can see the brush strokes of his mop over the wet surface, and all the reflections of everything in it.
Yeah,
it is ridiculously good looking, and of course, it just really hits the spot for me because it's the closest to like a AAA SCP Foundation game we're possibly going to get. There's been 1,000,001 SCP fan games and animations, but no AAA one that could really show like the scale and depth of like an organization like that. But Control comes pretty close.
When I played it, I was just so out of my depth. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I would have been more forgiving of it, but when I played it, it was really choppy, and the PlayStation 4 just couldn't hack it. It was a base model PS4, wasn't able to do it. But it's out on PC now, might give it another go, maybe. Do the enemies become less generic?
Yeah, there's a decent enough variety. It's mainly just mutated people.
Red men.
It's the staff who have been mutated, but they've all been mutated to a sufficient degree that it isn't just like Red Man 1 followed by level 10 more durable Red Man. It's actually, there's different types of enemies. There's ones that fly around and hurl objects at you.
I got killed by that one.
There's ones that shield. There's an invisible one that sneaks around and only appears when it's about to do like a close range attack, so you have to kind of keep your wits about you and be able to dodge and do enough damage to him before he disappears again. Yeah, so it's not bad now.
Can you see the mechanics working for a Doctor Strange style game?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it'd be fucking cool.
Yeah, the dimensionality and the graphics as well, with the ray tracing and the lighting of all the magic effects from Doctor Strange, I could really see that working. And then just, you know, for basic like telekinetic attacks or whatever, sure.
Yeah.
Change the gunplay into like, you know, magic bolts.
Yeah, exactly.
Change the shield power into like the magic shield thing they do. Yeah, it's perfectly translated.
Good. That's a nice parallel.
Yeah, 80% of the work is already done if they want to go down that road. Yeah, I would love to see it.
Don't give Square Enix another shot at a Marvel game. Although Guardians of the Galaxy is supposed to be better received than the Avengers.
I've only saw like the trailer of it, and what I saw just really didn't impress me at all. Like I'm so done with like is it multiplayer? Is it a multiplayer?
No, single campaign only.
Oh, okay.
It's less of a cash grab this time.
Would you say it's a cash grab to an extent, all the same?
They're definitely cashing in. Like, would we have got Guardians of the Galaxy game 10 years ago?
Nah, the combat just looks really generic to me.
Yeah,
it just seems like there's nothing even wrong with the way they approached it. Like, the Guardians are a team and they use all their different abilities in sync with each other, and that's where their strength lies in terms of combat. But like, to me it looks the same kind of energy as like Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah,
it just looks really generic. It's just all flash and no impact.
You're playing for cutscenes.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, and some people are like, they say like, oh, I don't mind games like that. You know, sometimes I want to come home from work and I just want to sit on the couch and just turn my brain off. Those are the same people who play things like Dynasty Warriors and things like that. The most valuable thing you have is your time, and I just hate the idea of anyone wasting their time button mashing on something brainless. Like, if you watch a brainless show, you're at least taking information in, you know. But with a game, I don't know. It feels different to me.
I'll pose this to you then. What about the games like the Lego series? Would those be considered like waste of time to you?
Once upon a time, I wouldn't have said that. Like, I still love Lego Star Wars. Like, even to this day, I still go back to it. But there's a kind of magic that's lost from modern Lego games. They became way too, like, corporate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's this, like, cashing in on kids kind of energy to it. And, like, you could say that that's always been the case. But that sort of collectathon stuff is missing from a lot of games nowadays. So the old school stuff that you could, like, 100% and have this cute charm, and the graphics are actually surprisingly good for the time as well, for such a simplistic style of Lego. That was grand, but now the new games is just like, it's nearly ubified. There's nearly too much stuff to it, and it's literally just like, buy this to keep your kid occupied. Give us money.
I would put it to you, would it be fair to say that the old Lego games got a Lego game on merit rather than just being the next big release? So Star Wars,
yeah,
there was a game to be made there. Lord of the Rings, there was a game to be made there.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones, not really. I know it was kind of good, but they made a second one for no reason. But then they're blowing it out of the water with like Lego Worlds, and it's like €20 for a figure that you get a 2-hour level out of.
Like at some point, there was this unstoppable avalanche of Lego that just kept on coming.
Yeah.
And I immediately got burnt out on it. Like I think the most recent one I played would have been like Lego Harry Potter, I think. And even that, like I was like, I loved the idea of like exploring a Lego Hogwarts, because I still love Harry Potter, and the graphics were actually really good. Like, when you activate Lumos and it has that lovely glow around you and everything. Like, there's plenty I loved about it, but there was just too much to do. And I'm just like, I can't do this. There was a time when I could have, but as an adult man, I'm just like, no, I can't enjoy this. I enjoyed it for a bit, but then when I saw just how much there was to do, I'm just like, no, I'm done. This doesn't have the same magic.
What's another game that you look back on really fondly, but you just can't play it again because there was just so much to do?
Probably Grand Theft Auto, one of the old Grand Theft Autos. Like, I used to love playing them back in the day, but I never actually got through the main story or anything. I literally just fucked around driving up and down Vice Beach on like a dirt bike or whatever in Vice City. Never actually managed to get through the story or anything. Years later, I do want to, but now that I know just how much busy work there is in the game, and also being spoiled by like the fluidity of modern games.
It's like Assassin's Creed 2. When you think back, it was a great game at the time, and there was so many more features than Assassin's Creed 1 had. If you were to go back and play it now, all you're doing is trail this person, don't be seen, assassinate this person from a distance, or run away. And it's just the same thing over and over again. I, in recent years, went back and played the first few chapters, and in one mission they literally have you carry a box for Leonardo da Vinci, and that's the mission. I was like, what is this muck? It's mad, isn't it? We're spoiled all these years later. Although I wouldn't even play an Assassin's Creed now because it's just there's too much. When they released Origins,
I was never interested in Assassin's Creed purely because of how like ubiquitous it was. Like, you couldn't get away from it. It was like Call of Duty. It was just one of those like lad games. You didn't play it because it was a good game. You played it because all your friends were playing it. Right? That's the way I always saw it. I tried to play the first one, and I was bored to tears. It was so not fluid. Like, all the magazines were like, oh my god, the parkour is so fluid. You practically glide across the rooftops. And then I played it, and I was like, this is actually quite slow. I was expecting Prince of Persia kind of stuff. It's actually kind of janky. And then it was like, you had to go through the rest of the world, and I was expecting all kinds of secrets and unlockables and stuff, and it was literally just main quest and collect flags.
Yes.
And I'm just like, oh, this is it. This is what people are hyping up and calling the game of the year and stuff. So I was incredibly disappointed.
I remember, actually, sorry to cut you off.
You're right.
You said the magazines, the like the PlayStation magazines that used to be everywhere.
Yeah.
One of those got released, and the cover was Assassin's Creed with Altair on the cover, and inside in the main article it said, "You've just killed a man. What will you do?" And the panic and urgency that expressed made it seem like it was going to be such a big deal. Like, you've just killed someone, you need to get away and all. You literally like run down the street and you get away from the villains.
Years and years later, the PS4 came out, and I got a loan of Assassin's Creed Black Flag off of James, and I was like, oh, Assassin's Creed Pirates, that's an intriguing concept, I'll give it a go. So I got a loan of it off him, and I fired it up. and within minutes I was like, it's the same shit. It's the same shit again. Like all these years and they haven't changed because clearly people have just thrown so much money at them that they just can't be arse changing. They don't have to. You know, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. They're making their money, so they're happy. So I'm just like, no, I do not care for Assassin's Creed. And then I saw they're making the like Greek one and the Egyptian one, and it's not even Assassin's Creed anymore. It's literally just like mythology shit with vague relations to it. So you may as well. It's a different game, but they're just putting the Assassin's Creed logo on it because people will buy it because of the Assassin's Creed logo. People who have spent this much money on it so far are going to keep on buying it. You know.
I got Valhalla that came out just because I do like the Norse mythology.
Yeah.
I got about 6 hours into it and I didn't scratch past the tutorial area.
Yeah. Wait, okay, I've not looked into it at all, but let me guess. Your character's name is Ragnar.
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
They can't call it Ragnar because you're able to pick a female or a male.
Oh.
So they give you what would you call it? A non-binary name. Ivor.
Oh, that's
just
the Viking
the
bit
name.
of like Charlie or Alex kind of.
Yeah, and then you pick the male or the female, and it was gorgeous looking. It was absolutely gorgeous looking, but I just thought this game is supposed to take up to 50 plus hours. I don't have that time to be arsing about up in mountains, and they introduced a new like level up system. So like some missions you can't even take on until you're a certain strength, and even then if you take it on straight away, you're going to get your ass kicked. So it's just, how is this fun? Yeah. Another one in Assassin's Creed Origins, they introduced like these bounty hunters who would come after you, and they're like level fucking 80 and you're like level 3 and you just have to run as soon as they come near you. And I was like, I don't want to be on edge when I'm not even in a mission. I just want to run around. So,
yeah, that's a big pitfall of open world games, is constantly throwing mobs at you.
Yeah.
Gets very boring. Your character, the guy on the front cover, looks unbelievably generic. It's like if you're going to make a Norse game, the starter pack is like shaved sides, right, but the hair on top going back, like in a Viking mullet kind of thing. Beard, big old beard, right? Put into a tail optional.
Yeah.
Braided optional. Fluffy clothes, to survive the cold, harsh climate, but always bare arms for some reason. Skyrim did it. The Assassin's Creed Viking did it. Viking Battle for Asgard did it, though that was a pretty good game. There was some new Rune game as well. Rune is like going back years. It's kind of like Viking Tomb Raider. Pretty good old games. The character that is unfortunately called Ragnar. So the new one, there was someone that was completely like off the radar. No one saw coming, and they released it on Steam. But it just looks like Pound Shop God of War, so nobody touched it. But yeah, bare arms, always a thing in Viking games to show how tough you are to survive the cold and show off the guns. But also, you still have the wool and stuff.
Yeah,
because it's aesthetic.
It's like me some days when I'm going to the shop and I'm wearing a big jacket and shorts, and my father says, "What the hell are you doing?" I just wasn't arse getting changed.
No, father, I am Wolfgar Brunhild. So
you've been busy on your other channel.
Yes, mate, I have been
busy.
So
tell us about that project.
I'm busier than a cat burying shit on concrete, mate.
I had a feeling that accent would pop up through this video.
So yeah, I released my latest video for Jack Month, as it's called. So Jack Month is a big community-wide celebration of the upcoming 20th anniversary of Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy. So it was organised by PowerCell Zeke. He's quite a big figure in the community. He put together the Jak and Daxter archive website, which contains the design bibles and soundtracks and stuff of all the different games. There's loads of like concept art and ideas that never made it into the game. Loads of stuff. It's like a historical vault of like Jak and Daxter stuff. So he got Jak Month going. So for all the month of November, people make like videos, streams, speedruns, art, music, the works, and they just release it with the hashtag Jak Month, and everybody just like celebrates at the same time. So that leads up to December the 3rd, which is the actual anniversary. So yeah, I do my Jak and Daxter lore theories. So for this one, I wanted to do it a little bit special, a little bit different. So I teamed up with two artists from the community, Siobhan Roberts, aka Draco Riot Art 95, and Stevie Galliard, aka Activoid. So I got in touch with them through Facebook and Discord respectively, and they basically did up some art pieces that I could put in the video and kind of better illustrate some of the theories I had about Jak and Daxter. So the latest episode is about it's a level that you wouldn't think would have that much lore to it, but I went all out and I basically made like a ton of lore about the precursors creating the world in the game. So it goes back like possibly billions of years into the Jak and Daxter timeline. So it was a lot of fun working with them, and it was really cool putting their art in. It was, you know, it was something different. It was a really great experience.
Did it feel more like a production this time?
It did, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, working with people in the community, you know, because we all love Jak and Daxter. So working with other people to combine our skills and the way we see the Jak and Daxter universe, combining those together into the one thing, it was really special, you know.
And you're very detailed with those videos, as in every single aspect of the video is captured footage that you've tweaked some way to make it brighter, more attractive looking, all the scripts, everything.
Yeah.
So you're starting today. When do you have the final product, roughly? How long does one video take you to make?
Yeah, it depends. So I would write it first.
Yeah.
And then I would get all the footage. Then I'd record my voiceover. Then I'd get supplementary stuff like artwork or sound effects and stuff. You know, I would peruse YouTube and use like royalty free kind of stuff sometimes. Yeah. So once I have everything, the editing part is actually very quick. I could get a video done in like a day once I have everything ready. But it's actually just recording it and writing it and stuff takes time. So like a week or two tops. But I love to arse around because that's who I am as a person. So, you know, I would take time before I get into it. But it's not unproductive time because I daydream about it a lot.
Yeah. So
I would actually come up with the theories in those times. And a lot of the theories I have are theories that I've had for years anyway, since like first playing the game on PS2. So a lot of them are already there. But I would dream up a lot and like think of the best way to write it and the best way to frame it and the best footage to go with it. So there's a lot of daydreaming, and then the actual thing takes far less time.
And they're all the theories. They're your own theories, or are they ones that you've kind of went actually?
They're mostly my own now. A few of them have been inspired by things other people have said. You know, I run the Jak and Daxter lore Discord, so there's quite a few people in there that would drop some really really cool ideas that would definitely go on to influence future theories that I have. A few of them have definitely made their way into the videos. I can't think of any off the top of my head now, but like in all the videos I've released so far, there are definitely theories that I have like learned and built on from other people in the community. And then other stuff is I'm drawing on information that's readily available.
Yeah.
So for example, the villain Gol, his part of his costume is that like he's weighed down by like these metal spheres that are attached to his waist and stuff. They're never addressed in the game, they're never spoken about. But in the Jak and Daxter design bible, available on the archive that PowerCell Zeke made, the original concept was that he is actually weighed down by cannonballs. They're actually cannonballs, and they weigh him down to stop him floating away because the dark eco is so powerful that like he can't stop himself from floating away. But it's also a cool part of his design because it shows that he's like literally weighed down by the warping influence of dark eco, so he's like imprisoned or enchained by it, you know. So I wouldn't have known that if it wasn't for the design bible. So in that way, that wasn't my theory, it was me putting that in and like building on it.
So how far are you through the first game in terms of videos? Because for me, I have always said I've never played Jak and Daxter. So how long? I watch every video anyway, just because the scenery is gorgeous. And then I have to ask him afterwards what's going on. So Jak 1, you're after doing a good few videos now. How much more is there?
Yeah, so I'm 8 episodes in?
Yeah.
So I think I'm just under halfway. So I have Lost Predator City, Swamp, Mountain Pass, Volcanic Crater, Spider Cave, Snowy Mountain, Lava Tube, and the Citadel. So yeah, another 9.
Another 9.
Another 9 levels. Another 9 levels in the first game.
Are you going to take a break then, or?
I might take a bit of a break before I move on to the other games. A lot of the stuff I wanted to talk about was mainly like precursor stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a lot less precursor stuff in the later games.
So you're pretty much going to have a new focus.
Different formula, I think.
Yeah.
So rather than do like a level by level, because Jak 2 and 3, like they were a lot more Grand Theft Auto-y, so they would have a lot of missions that take place in the same levels with different enemies and stuff. So if I was to go through it just level by level, there wouldn't be that much to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking of actually just doing like big sweeping things, capturing multiple levels in bigger videos. So Haven City, like, you know, you could say there's Haven City, there's the pumping station, there's the sewers, there's the ruins of Deadtown. So I would like to talk about all of them in maybe one go, because doing level by level, there just won't be that much to talk about.
So let's say after the precursor stuff is done, you're going to move on to, like, we're going to focus on this video to Haven City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
Now, there are 1 or 2 precursor locations. Like in Jak 2, there's the Mountain Temple. So I think the Mountain Temple would get its own video.
Yeah.
But generally, there's going to be a lot less videos because there just isn't as much theorizing to be done. Like if I was to do a video on just the pumping station, it would only be like a few minutes long, like because there really just isn't that much to talk about. So if I just lump that in along with Haven City and Deadtown and stuff, we'd have a full-size video, and it doesn't saturate the channel with just like pointless videos.
That was my next point. I was like, are you afraid that you will oversaturate? Because there is a finite amount of material you can go to.
Yeah, I'm taking steps to not saturate the channel.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm going to do it with Jak 2, is just do big sweeping videos about locations that are connected. Yeah. So just Haven City, Wasteland, Mountain Temple. That's it for Jak 2, I think, off the top of my head. Yeah, then Jak 3, I could talk about like Spargus and the precursor locations in the desert and stuff like that. Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah. It's a long way away by the sounds of it.
The videos will be better looking in future as well, because it turns out that on the emulator that I record on, I was using the wrong interlacing mode. So even though I was running it and recording it in 4K, it was still a bit too blurry. So it turns out by just pressing F5 over and over, you can cycle through the different interlacing methods. And eventually I landed on one that like completely got rid of the blur. And now it's like really crispy, genuine 4K.
Perfect.
So yeah, all the videos going forward will be much better looking.
I think at the end we should have like the grand finale. How you did it, how it went, how you progressed.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. So yeah, at the end, I expect a documentary how this was done.
It's cool because as you go through each episode, you can see like the mistakes that I make earlier on, and you can see me getting better and better, like not making them, and kind of getting used to the emulator more. Like when I was using the flying camera, I thought it was literally just like that was it, but it turns out you can mess with the field of view. So working in a bit of filmmaking theory, you can essentially like put on different lenses and get like different angles and different like field of views for different effects. You could fit more stuff into frame or like zoom in for added emphasis. There's so much you can do. So you can see me like getting rid of the flaws and improving on what I can do with the emulator as well. So there's like a clear progression, which I think is, you know, very satisfying.
Do you see any other franchise or game getting the treatment eventually down the line? Is there any game in your head that you would just kind of go, I maybe want to give that one a shot?
I think there's a debug mode available for Ratchet and Clank.
We talked about this before though, that it just doesn't have the same attraction that Jak and Daxter.
Yeah, it just doesn't really. There's not enough stuff to theorize about because every single planet is different.
Yeah.
Like with Jak and Daxter, like you can feel the precursor's influence in most levels, I would say. But then, like Ratchet and Clank, every single planet is different, so there's less stuff to theorize about. Yeah. There's more grand sweeping stuff. Like there was a theory I saw on Reddit one time saying that the reason the Lombaxers are so advanced is because they are the only species in the setting that has like 5 fingers instead of like 3 like everything else. So that dexterity allowed them to work more finely with machinery.
The fact that you did that so easily. That's what I took away from that last paragraph. So
So yeah, like I would love to do something like that, but there's just not enough material there, unfortunately.
But you're happy enough at the moment.
Yeah, any setting that does have like, you know, really deep established lore generally has people covering it already, like Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah, but your fan base is building.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we'll see. If there's something out there that I can do, I will. But like if it's been done in a really good way already and there's nothing I can add to the collective body of lore, then I'm not gonna bother. I mean, there's no point in me doing like a Dark Souls lore video when there's like people like Vati Video out there already.
You mentioned that when we did the How to Dark Souls video.
Yeah.
I remember that name just because you snapped at me. No, Body Video has already done that. I was like, gee, how was I supposed to know? But like I assume Bloodborne is done to death.
Oh yeah.
All those kind of games.
Yeah, it's all been covered. Like there's nothing that I can add to it.
Yeah.
So there's just really no point. It would just be saturating the body of knowledge at this point, you know.
Crazy that you were able to find the niche in Jack and Daxter. That unexplored area.
Yeah, like I never saw anything like that done before. So I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do this. This has been on my mind for a while. I have nothing to lose by doing this. I'm sure someone out there will appreciate it. So yeah, but there's about 624 people who appreciate it now. So
I thought it was 628 at the last time I checked.
Oh, I must have lost 4, but anyway, 624 subscribers.
I wanted a small video just to let you know that Darren was still alive and doing well. So we will see you soon, hopefully. That was just a quick catch up. Thank you very much. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you again.
See you next time.